So you've challenged Jacob Munoz for number 3.
Yes, I have.
What are your feelings?
He's that last around last September, October. He kind of surpassed me in the weekly tournaments. I had always kind of had an edge on him, and then I saw his game take a turn, and then that was ratified in December when he catapulted up to third. But all of his victories against me have been in short matches, and so I think that I have a game that can surpass him in a longer match. And, I'm aging, so I'm having to deal and manage with arthritis and other aging aspects. But I've trained for this match, and I've done the things I need to do, so I feel like I have a very good chance of winning today.
Okay, great. So what would this be if you win this? Would it be the highest rank that you've had in USAA?
I've been second,
okay,
and I've been third, and I've been fourth. I've never been first.
Well, fair enough. But okay, so but it's right up there with your highest rankings.
Yes.
Okay. What do you plan to do going into the match?
My focus is really defense.
Okay.
It's been my experience. Challenge matches really ride on being able to slow your opponent and manage the pace. And so his strength is his speed. And his height being shorter, he hits a lot of pucks from further back. So I'm going to start with the back defense. I'm switching to a high top. I've been playing with a low top for the last several years. Going back to a high top so I can get more defensive captures, slow his offense down, and I'm going to bring some attacks he probably hasn't seen because he hasn't seen me with a high top in the fingers.
Right.
So I'm gonna take my time, pick him apart, try to break down his defense, try to control the pace, and take away what he's good at, which is his speed.
Okay. So any shots in particular that you think are going to work well against him?
My cross straight, once I find it.
Okay.
So he's very good at defending. He knows it's my best shot, but once I find the angle, the drift angle, the release positioning.
Okay.
And once I get that open and I get him moving, and I typically have to get a left ball undergoing as well. Once I can get underneath him a little bit, or if I can get a cut working, then I'll be able to move him where I need to, or I will find the release position, the drift speed, and the positioning to hit that cross. And once I get that working, I'll break his defense down.
Okay. And what about when you mentioned defense? What are you concerned that he's going to throw at you?
A lot of overs. I'm going to be successful in shutting down his unders. I think I'm going to be able to cut him off enough that it'll give me control of the pace, and he's going to start throwing a lot of, especially right ball overs. He's very accurate with it. It's very deceptive, and it's very difficult to block. Because I tended to play good old fashioned. I'm going to take the unders away and give you the overs if you can hit them.
Right.
When you play someone that can hit 6 or 7 in a game, it gets challenging.
Yeah, no kidding.
So and if he can beat me with overs, or if he's getting enough of them that I have to change my defense, I will. But I think I'm going to win that battle.
Okay. All right. Great. And now you mentioned having a longer match. You feel like you have the edge, which is interesting because you're the older player.
Right.
So what's that about?
Well, he's got endurance, but I have experience.
Yes.
And so his endurance and speed and skills are going to be better than mine. There's no question about that. But as far as the knowledge and understanding how to draw the match out, so for instance, I'm probably going to be taking nearly a full minute between every game, at least 1 2-minute breaks, the full 7 minutes between sets. I'm going to lengthen the match by taking lots of time, giving myself maximum recovery. And like I said, I've done a lot with my eating and my diet and sleep and everything this week, really to give me concentration and better recovery. So I think I can recover faster. Whether I can get into a 6th and 7th set, I don't know. I haven't played that long since I've had the arthritis diagnosis. We'll find out.
Okay.
But I think that I can beat him with intellect and with management.
Okay, so sounds great. Well, have a great match, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. What's up, Jacob? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. So, tell me about the match. Brian Accrocco's challenged you for your number 3 ranking. How are you feeling about it?
Nervous, but confident.
Okay. So when you say you're nervous, like how do you know that you're nervous?
Can I do it?
Like self-doubt?
Yeah, it's a little bit of self-doubt, but I have that confidence that I can do it too.
Sure. Yeah. So what have you been doing to prepare?
Practice, a lot of practice, and just mentally preparing myself.
Okay. Do you think this will be the most difficult challenge match you've played, or?
In recent times, yeah. Especially knowing the stakes, it's for top 3, so
Sure.
it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
Especially because what that'll mean for me if I don't take it, So I'm gonna have to battle with that if that happens in the outcome. But
so, like, if you end up losing and going down. What, when you say you had a battle with that, what would that look like?
What that's gonna mean for my ego a bit, because we've all been there where we get a bit of an ego
Okay.
going. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm gonna be battling with. But all I can do is bounce back.
Sure.
So
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting, the ego, because you had such a great finish at the Worlds, and everybody's looking at you saying, "Wow, here's a new up and comer in the sport." So, if you don't win the match, do you feel like that's going to give ammunition to critics?
not so much. I mean, Brian is a very formidable player, so
Okay.
not so much. It's just going to be more of a self-conscious kind of thing, you
Okay.
know, because everyone knows that I have what it takes. It's a matter of, can I piece it together during
Right.
this match?
Right.
So,
In the middle of the battle. Yeah. So, what are your going into this match? What are the strategies that you're bringing to it?
just play my heart out. I never normally go into a match having any kind of strategy. Obviously, we've played quite a bit, me and Brian. But I know what works. I know what doesn't work. And if I see an opening, I go for it. Typically, I don't go into matches having a set in stone strategy, because
Okay.
anytime I did, I never went through it. So
Okay. So what does work on Brian?
a lot of overs, a lot of cuts. Off speeds work really well on him.
Okay.
What I've noticed.
And is that like,
Forehands.
is that off speed on a straight, or is it an off speed bang?
Off speed bang, off speed bang, straights. It just depends.
Okay.
Yeah, it just depends on how well you set it up and the moment that you set it up as well. Like if it's a 6-6 situation, or if he's all rattled up and stuff, you know. I've learned that that's typically when you want to shoot a shot like that.
Right. And what doesn't work?
Unders. Well, at least what I've seen, a lot of unders. At least my unders.
Okay. Yeah.
But I know I'm gonna have to mix it up, so I'm gonna throw everything I have at him.
Okay.
I have a good 8 shots in my arsenal.
Oof. Okay. Yeah. That's a lot. Okay. Well, we hope you have a wonderful match. We'll be here to talk more later.
Brian Accrocco ranks number 9 in the world, has challenged Jacob Munoz, ranks number 3 in the world.
All right, here we go.
It's a good match.
It's going to be interesting to see if Munoz has made any significant changes or improvements since Worlds. Because I know he's been practicing a lot.
Yeah, he has.
I think when you have a breakthrough performance like that, it's really motivating, you know. And then when you really want to dig in, because you're
Yeah.
like, wait a second, I can play with these guys.
No, yeah, I've talked with him a few times since Worlds, and almost every time he's talked about how he really has a fire in his belly.
That's awesome. Yeah.
0-1.
So these guys are, how old is Munoz?
Munoz is 20.
20? Okay. Brian's getting close to 50. So a big age gap there. And I know-
Sorry.
well, I was going to say, and I know a lot of people like to talk about how the great thing in air hockey is young and old can compete together. I think they can to a certain point. I think that's a bit overstated. If you look at, there's a lot of research on reflexes and the speed of reflexes as you age. And I think it's something like 1/10 of a second per decade it decreases, something like that. And in air hockey, when we're talking about a release being, 0.1 seconds, that becomes significant.
Exactly, and cognitive decline is also a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, once you're I think 25 is the hill. Once you're 25, your fluid intelligence level starts going down. So your ability to process in the moment, and then you have to rely on crystallized intelligence, which
Right.
Brian has a lot of crystallized intelligence in air hockey. Be interesting if he can, against Munoz's very fluid style.
Sure. That was a nice cut by Munoz. It's real smooth. Shot's real. It's got a touch to it. We went for a double bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see how he's just very smooth with it.
Interesting. He's kind of trying to make that cut look like a cross straight. One thing I'll say to watch for this match is we know that Brian is a very intense player. He has a lot of fierce intensity in his game. Brian's one of those players I'm always scared of when I have him 6-4 or something. I'm terrified he's going to come back and win the game. So I'm interested to see if Munoz is going to be able to match that intensity. A challenge match is very different than a tournament match in Worlds.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of ups and downs, but that intensity that Brian brings to his game takes a lot of energy. So I don't know if he'll. I have a feeling that he's going to try to play, and he said this. He's going to try to play a little bit more methodical. It's Mike Cummings reffing, by the way. Yeah, and that's one thing. That's another real strong suit for Brian is he's a very good transition player.
It's a deep
left wall
under hit from far back on the table.
Yeah, Munoz seems like he shoots almost all of his shots from far back on the table. Kind of reminds me of Albert Ortiz and Robert, and makes me wonder if learning from Frank Perez. That's you learn. There's a nice right wall over to end the game there. So,
learning from Frank Perez, you definitely gonna learn some weird angles that people are not
used to.
And Frank, in his 60s, play him, you think it just kind of looks cute, right? Whatever. But when it's someone with like the youth and power of Munoz coming at you with these crazy shots, a little different. You had the left wall over there by Munoz. That cross is open. Brian.
You mean for Brian? Yeah. Off goal. Some off goal from Munoz. Multiple off goals from Munoz. It's interesting.
Makes sense. His style is very reminiscent of Colin's style, and Colin uses a lot of off goals. That forehand is a new shot of Brian's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oof.
I think that's 2 crosses that Brian's just barely missed this game.
So based on the interviews leading up to the match, it sounds like that Brian believes cross is going to be a big thing for him in the match.
Yeah.
And Munoz said he had 8 shots.
Munoz believes everything is going to be
everything's going to be good for him. All right, well. Oh my God. That's it's like a viper strike. It's just all of a sudden that left wall under is going in.
Yeah. Ooh,
Again, another
transition.
transition. Brian looks pretty good, and he's got a cross straight. Now he's kind of found it. We'll see if he can keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's that cross is executed real early on the drift, and again the Viper strike.
Yeah. Left wall under from basically what, like back, just center.
Yeah, just kaboom! All of a sudden.
Brian's putting a lot of power into some of these shots.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, pretty fast forehand. Kind of a flub in there. Oh, beautiful right wall over.
Mm-hmm. It's real accurate, smooth. Looked like he went for a sort of an off speed, just missed it.
Munoz looks a little jittery this game.
Mm-hmm.
10 seconds. Ready, sir?
Oh,
That's a classic Brian Accrocco cross straight. I've seen that shot a million times come against me, just delivered just like that.
I think the cross is definitely Brian's best shot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One thing I'll say is Munoz feels like he has a lot to prove this match.
Right. So he had a breakout tournament at the Worlds. He's excited to, take his game to another level, but then he's got that self-doubt that he talked about. Can he do it?
Is it just a fluke?
Right. And it's interesting because, obviously we've only great cross.
Yeah.
Obviously we've only played a couple games here, so we have a lot of match to go. But so far it looks like Munoz is playing all right, kind of as he did at the Worlds. But he's showing a few flashes of something new almost. I didn't see at the Worlds, the kind of a smoothness in his release.
Yeah, that Brian just has that cross straight all day right now. Is there anything in particular, like any particular shots?
His cut is just Munoz's cut just looks so smooth. It's a touch cut. It's a timing thing, and he's the way he. Next time he does it, I'll mention it. But
You
yeah.
really love a good cut.
I love cuts. You're damn right. I love cuts.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Especially a touch cut.
Yeah.
That's my real pleasure in life. See there?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about the pace and the sound of when you hit that touch cut and the person just moves right out of the way.
Makes you feel powerful.
Mm.
It makes you feel not only powerful but also really smart.
Yeah, that's true. It was a good get. Munoz has a good body type for air hockey. Not too tall. That's really useful. I know that being tall sometimes for you can be a little bit of a difficulty.
Yes, it can be
Yeah.
annoying.
And that's that touch cut
Yeah,
that I was
it's a
talking
great
about.
cut.
Yeah. Mm.
That's interesting. It was kind of cuts and right wall overs that game.
Yeah.
0-1.
Barely missed that one.
Barely missed that one.
And Brian definitely seems to have the timing down just right on that cross. Because Munoz is super fast, and that cross is getting over there before he reacts. And it's not like well, I was going to say it's not like Brian is mixing in left walls, but there he went and mixed one in. That's going to really help Brian, having that left wall go in, because now Munoz doesn't have, it's not just worrying about, can I get over there to block that cross quick enough? He's got to worry a little bit about it being a left wall under.
Yeah, now Brian comes at him with the right wall over.
Brian has that shot. Brian has I think a good right wall over. And the cross, woof.
It was a great cross.
Mm-hmm. I like the way Brian's playing. I'm used to Brian playing a real intense, fast-paced game, and he seems to be playing much more controlled here.
Yeah, it seems to be working for him too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe rushing a little bit there. Was that a? That's the left forehand left wall over. That's Sarah Weissman's dream shot that she wants.
You might need to start practicing with Munoz. That looked like an over. Did that go under?
Not sure. It was too fast.
Ooh.
That was odd. It was an off-speed cross. Munoz went for an off-speed cross in return. A lot of times that happens in air hockey, right? You hit a shot, really cool shot, and your opponent tries to get it right back at you right afterwards.
I love to use that to my advantage sometimes.
They'll try it, yeah.
Well, no, that I assume they'll think I'll try it.
Oh, right.
So sometimes I'll look at exactly where I would be looking if I was hitting that shot.
Yeah.
You just hit something entirely different.
Yes.
Real great timing on that. Right while under. We got a pretty good set here for the first set. 2-2. If Brian could start mixing in a cut, that would really take his attack to another level. Mm-hmm. But I think the cut probably has to be a little bit slower than that cross. He's got to look just like it. Mm.
It's real methodical and accurate there.
Mm-hmm. And that's that Viper strike. I think I'm giving you a nickname, Jacob Munoz. You are the Viper.
Kind of going away from that cut a little bit this game.
Mm-hmm.
That is one thing I'll say with a style like Munoz's. A player who mixes it up a lot, who has, like he said, 8 different shots.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's going to be a tendency to get away from what's working.
Sure, too much variety sometimes. Yeah, that can happen.
There was a cross that scored by Brian.
I don't know. It looked like he said sorry. So maybe it was a flub.
Okay.
I'm guessing
was
that was the
that
Viper. The Viper strike. That was for the cut. Yeah. Seems if you look at how Jacob is holding his mallet, he holds it very like loosely and lightly.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of lithe, I think, is the actual word.
Yeah, he's a Viper. He's in the grass.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like that he's got an attack going right now. He's just sort of hitting shots.
Yeah.
Ready? Back to black. Game point 3.
You know, Brian developed that forehand this last year when he was playing as a low top player.
Oh, okay.
And this is his first time in a while playing with a high top, so it's interesting seeing that shot translate like that.
So far, I'm looking pretty good with a high top.
Wonder what holding the mallet loosely like that does for Munoz. I wonder if it gives him more wrist mobility, maybe.
Maybe it's interesting if you watch his wrist. A real significant rotation. He has a real wide range, and his hand a lot of times is almost vertical when he's moving the puck around on his side. He'll lift it up. He'll lift his hand up slightly right before he does that cut, his touch cut. I think it's easier to see from the other angle, from when he's on the left side of the table. It's interesting. It seems like that Munoz is nervous, but he doesn't really look like he's showing it. I know you've played with him a lot more than you have seen him.
Yeah, so I think I can tell he's nervous just because I know him pretty well.
Okay.
But if I didn't, I would think he's
just kind of cool.
He's a little bit like Billy Stubbs in that way, just very kind of calm and collected when he's playing.
Looking that way.
Looking that way,
Right.
yes.
Yeah. Because I would say that Billy would probably argue that he doesn't feel that way.
Right. Yeah, and Munoz doesn't feel that way either.
Right.
I do not believe that.
A lot of people have told that to me as well. A lot of people over the years have said, "Man, you just look so calm." And I'm like, I don't feel it at all.
I don't think anyone would say I look calm
Right?
when I'm playing.
No. Yeah. Oh, two fouls. Brian gets 2 possessions.
A goaltend there by Jacob. I think he called it on himself.
That's quite admirable. Yeah, that's one thing I love about air hockey is there's a real strong sense of sportsmanship and honor.
Yes.
Wow.
All right, Brian gets the
Brian's
first set.
set 1. Let's take a look at some of the stats from that set. So, so you can see that big yellow mark on Brian's graph there. Those are the crosses that he was hitting. That was a huge part of his game. Much more varied for Jacob. He had a lot of different shots, focused, I guess, mostly on the left wall under. So you look at these stats, turnovers versus score and recover. So it looks like Brian was stronger there. He
Yeah.
wasn't turning over as much. Similar missed shots here, but again, the turnovers are the difference in the shot accuracy between the two guys. So 28% of his shots scored for Brian, 22% for Jacob. Looks like 37 to 32 points. Yeah, if you go all the way down the turnovers, it looks like turnovers was the difference in that set.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, set 2, here we go.
I wonder how that affected Jacob's mental game. Losing that first set when he has so much pressure on himself going into this match.
Yeah, that could be really hard. But I don't know, if sometimes if you're really nervous and you let the jitters get out in those first,
games,
then you can sort of focus in.
Right. And you might be able to think to yourself, too, something like, I was nervous that set, not playing well, and I still went 4-2. Or
Yeah,
I still went
I mean, that would be
2-2.
definitely logical.
Oh, my.
That's the Viper.
Lord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the Viper. I don't know how you stop that shot. You can't unless you absolutely know it's coming. God. Okay, so I guess from the looks of the beginning of this set, it doesn't look like that last set has affected his mind, or it may have given him some motivation.
Yeah.
He might have given him motivation to take it up. And see how he did that with he lifted his hand up on his mallet. I'll show you.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's when he does his cut.
Yeah, especially when he does his cut. Sometimes when he's just drifting the puck around on his side of the table right before he shoots, he'll do it. He went for the Viper. Ooh. Oof. He's just taken over.
It's interesting because Brian's style is very, at least the way he drifts is very mechanistic. And Jacob is just so organic.
Right.
It's kind of this interesting clash here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacob's just come absolutely rampaging into this game. Oh.
Basically throwing everything at him.
All 8 shots.
A lot of recoveries there for him. It really builds up a lot of possession time, and there's that touch cut.
It's hard to win that game for Brian, other than being down 6-2, but when someone has you down 6-2 and you just don't get the puck.
Yeah. Even when they shoot, they're getting it back over and over.
Yeah, they shoot 10 shots. That's very Colin-esque. That Viper shot, I don't know if it was quite Viper speed, though.
I don't think it was Viper speed, no. But it was enough. It was a baby Viper.
Yeah. It was at least in the snake family. I see exactly. Yeah, I saw his
hand
do
kind
it,
of lift
yeah.
up. Yeah.
I think that might be sort of a low top player thing.
Yeah. Interesting.
I feel like I've seen Phil Arnold do that.
It comes across to me as a rhythm type of a thing. You know, I know that he plays guitar and he has some musicality. He's very smooth in the way he maneuvers around with the puck. It just sort of seems to me like just in that whole
Flow.
context, just kind of flowing and like right there what he was doing.
Thing is, all of these shots are missing, but they're still doing something to Brian's defense.
Mm-hmm. That was, I think that qualifies as Viper speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is, it's good. I mean, I'm glad to see that Jacob, you know, has raised his level here and is going to push. He's not giving up. And it'll be good because he's going to get the same back from Brian.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen Brian give up.
No, Brian does not give up.
Yeah. The man challenged me like every year for 20 years. So yeah, he didn't give up. I love you, Brian. Ooh.
Okay, Viper.
Yep. That was Viper. It's a nice get there. Yeah, if you can mix that Viper strike up with that left wall over that's kind of an off speed, that's a real difficult thing.
And then just hit a right wall over.
Oh no.
I feel kind of bad for Brian this game. I mean, it was 4-4,
Mm-hmm.
and then Munoz just came with three immaculate
Viper
shots.
over. Boom. Oh my lord. I mean, Munoz was on the other side of the table before Brian even knew he got scored on.
Brian's playing some good air hockey here. Munoz just took it to a complete other level that game.
Yeah. There it is. It's fascinating to watch what Munoz is doing with his hand and his mallet. I'm sort of really riveted by it. You see that? It's very smooth and controlled and live. And then look, he puts his finger on the top just gently.
It's great to see a very artistic
Yeah.
style
Yes.
in the top.
Yeah, we've
five
been
top
missing
three
it.
of air hockey.
Yeah, we've been missing that.
It's always one of my favorite things about watching old air hockey videos would be the very just artistic styles. You know, watching, Albert Ortiz or players like that.
Yeah, well, even Robert Hernandez, who again, we're talking about, guys that were introduced to air hockey by Frank Perez, and I don't think you can understate what type of an impact it is on a player, how they come into any sort of activity or sport. I think you see it in air hockey all the time, is people emulate those who, they first imprint upon, so to speak.
Well, I remember probably about a year ago I was having a conversation with Munoz, and he was telling me that, playing with a high top now, he wants to get to the next level, learn from what people like Colin, and myself are doing, and copy that, but still retain kind of that essence of Frank Perez.
Yeah.
He was telling me, I think he's doing it
doing
so far.
it, yeah. He definitely is, yeah.
But Brian's just coming at him with crosses this game.
Yeah. I think that one was a off-speed cut, but yes.
And do you know what works on Frank Perez?
What?
Crosses.
Crosses. Oh, and there's the cross. Well done. Again, Brian, we said it before, he's not going to give up. So, got a pretty good match going on here. And that's that smooth touch cut. Let's see if the camera pans in here a little bit, so we can get a better look at what he does with his hand. Oh, there he is. Just puts his finger just nice and gently on the top. Settles in on defense. Yeah. You see how his hand, when he finished the shot, his hand was almost vertical. And look, now he's got his hand behind his back. He's gonna, he's really getting artistic. Oof, that cross is just such a good shot.
When Brian plays me, that cross drives me insane.
I think he was saying he has to find it, so he's got to spend a little time figuring out when it needs to be released off of the drift, what angle, and once he finds it, he feels like, he's got it. But other than that cross, which is obviously great, I'm not sure if I'm seeing a lot of other stuff thrown in, which could be trouble down the line if Munoz finds a way to key in.
Yeah. So far, though, that cross
Oh, yeah.
is there all day.
Yeah. But I don't know. Let's say you're playing a match and a guy is scoring on one main shot against you over and over and over, but the match is still competitive and, you're winning games, they're winning games. Would you rather that, or would you rather have to worry about lots of different shots coming at you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would just prefer just to kind of not worry about the cross too much if I'm in Jacob's shoes.
Right. Yeah. Is that 4 this game?
I think, yeah, it's 4 this game.
But look, it might 4 this game, but he's still behind.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, we'll see. He's got to get a left wall mixed in with it, perhaps. Was that a triple bank?
Yeah. It was a...
Was it a mishit double?
It was intended to be a double.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's the garden snake.
Yes, that is the garden snake. Interesting. It was the same setup and release as his touch cut, but he was able to get the right wall under, which bodes well for him because if he could do that attack against Brian, that's the classic Accrocco, which is a cut straight right wall under.
One thing I'll say is, Brian's trying a lot of unders.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Munoz's main...
Hold on, you said Brian's trying a lot of unders?
Brian, well, he's trying some unders.
Okay,
I've seen him
gotcha.
try several left wall and right wall unders that haven't
gotten
scored.
it. Okay.
And I'm Munoz's main practice partner.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's used to very, very hard unders.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I think you have to hit some pretty hard unders score on Munoz, or
Viper.
you have to draw him out.
Just note there was a Viper sighting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Acknowledge. What do you think, if you're Jacob, what's your go-to 6-6 shot this match? Is it the Viper?
At this moment, I think it's between that and the cut straight, but probably the Viper. But seeing him play, I would maybe predict that he would go for an over. Maybe that'd be what I would predict. Well, that's a nice
Mix it
over.
up,
Speaking of
yeah.
overs.
Brian just missed a left all over there.
And the cross. It's there, it's there.
So, there he hit a few cuts that he just barely missed. Missed that left all over and then went further cross. I think those cuts in particular helped to open up that cross.
Well, and I've noticed that Brian does tend to hit an off goal or two before he tries for the cross. Maybe it's get him in rhythm. Yeah, results of charge, not always the best in this sport. That was a good get, Brian. And that's the Viper.
It's just so hard to expect an under from that far back.
Yeah, that
to be
angle.
that
Yeah.
quick and powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, very interesting angle he's got. It doesn't seem like fair by the laws of nature. Well, that kind of puts to bed the idea that that Munoz was not going to make it competitive. He really came alive in that second set. And we've got Mike Shoppy reffing set number 3. So you can see it on Jacob's face. I mean, he seems much more relaxed. Even though he wasn't showing his nerves earlier, he wasn't smiling. I see him smiling now. It's a big difference.
Okay. That's what Brian needs.
Yeah, he
needs
needs
that
that
shot.
ball under. Yeah.
I think that is probably the easiest way to get a cross straight attack working, right? If you can find that. But
Yeah. It's,
Jacob just...
I mean, Brian looked over to the right because his mallet was there. His mallet was there again. And he's like, how in the world is that going in? It's going in before his brain can even talk to his arm. There's no way he goes for it a third time. Okay.
Just same side, right?
Yeah, that's odd. I wouldn't have predicted that shot would have worked that well.
I think it looked like a cross.
Okay.
And it just went
Yeah.
cut side. And so maybe Brian predicted
Right, he's predicting
the cross,
yeah.
and then...
Yeah, well, and it looks like the exact same thing
yeah,
happened
it's,
there.
That's pretty high level by
Yeah.
Munoz.
Yeah.
So
Forehand cross. It's not. That's not a very often seen shot. Usually, that forehand straight is more of a cut. Traditionally, I think the reason is because it's hard to get your arm and your hand, your wrist to do that forehand and make it cross. But he's hitting it from so far back. He's got different angles. There he is.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, he's Jacob looks like he's definitely in the zone right now. Brian's gone for 3 cuts in a row. And the cross.
the cross.
Yeah. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, Brian can score that cross, but it's going to be when your setup shots, right, that you use to set up that cross aren't scoring themselves really at all, makes it pretty difficult.
Yes. I like this T-shirt that Jacob's wearing. Speedy's Fast Track. It was a. I think Speedy's is still there.
Yeah, it's still there, and that's where I think that's where Jacob mainly learned to play air hockey.
Yeah.
I believe he would go there with Frank all the time.
Nice.
Frank is Jacob's cousin, I believe, and it's originally Jacob's older brother, Anthony, that played air hockey. And
Right.
I actually had a pretty big rivalry with Anthony when I was, in my teen years, and where Jacob just running around as a little kid.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, when Jacob started playing, and I was, hearing about players and whatnot, I thought that Jacob was Anthony for a while. I kind of had that in my head, but he's obviously not. And there's Brian with that honor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great thing to see. I mean, sometimes in air hockey, you really don't even need a ref.
Right.
People are so honorable. You just need a
Yeah.
scorekeeper, really. Unless you're playing in Chicago, of course. And then you might want 5 refs.
Just kidding. So speaking of Chicago, since that came up, how do you see Dan and Brian Quesada, doing this next year? Because it seemed like at the last Worlds that they
had
underperformed.
Yeah. There's no doubt that they will both. I mean, really, I don't have much doubt that in the next Worlds they'll be top 10. Yeah, I'm really not sure.
Okay.
It's hard to say. I mean, Dan had a pretty good performance at the tournament we had in June. So I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I plead the fifth. I really don't know how they'll do. I don't know how much they're playing. But I'd love to see them in the top 10 again, and I'm pretty sure they will.
Okay.
But the San Antonio group and the Houston group now is playing a lot of air hockey.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, the San Antonio group really made a big splash onto the air hockey scene in a way.
I think one of the most under the radar surprises this tournament is honestly Doug Howard. This last one.
But it wasn't a surprise to me at all.
Right. Well, I know he ruined your arm.
Yeah, he destroyed my arm. But Doug's a really interesting case study because he was without any air hockey competitors for so long, just out in, was it Amarillo or Lubbock? One of those two, I forget which town.
Amarillo.
Okay.
Amarillo.
And so when you don't have anybody to play with, it's really hard to take your game to another level. But he had a goal blocker, and so he's got the accuracy mixed with the having practice partners of an elite caliber.
Right.
And so, yeah, he's really gone to another level. But yeah, it didn't surprise me. I'm sure it surprised a lot of other people.
But I mean, just to give Chicago a little love, I think they have one of the best communities in the country. When you go there and play, you get that real community feeling. So I hope that they really do go at it this year and practice a lot.
Right.
I'd love to see Q and Dan back in the top 10, and I can see a few of the other guys if they really start practicing getting up there too.
Well, then I know that Rob Kennedy was wanting to make some waves, and of course Allison is still wanting to finish first master as a woman, and be the highest finishing female, and all the.
Rob Kennedy is another player whose style is very interesting.
Oh yeah,
It's very unorthodox. I like that a lot. But they'll have to bring something to the table to beat Houston's new Jacob Munoz.
Yeah, Munoz has definitely planted a flag in the center of the top 5. And he's really taking it to Brian in this set.
Is that cut you were talking about?
Yeah. Brian right now is the proverbial, hummingbird that's trying to fly towards a skyscraper, and the skyscraper, the wind is whipping in his face and pushing him back. It's kind of what it seems like right now.
Yes.
The Viper, although I don't know that there's any proverbs about hummingbirds and skyscrapers, but it sounded good.
Yeah, I was just going to assume it was correct.
It's an ancient proverb.
You think about hummingbirds and vipers.
There's something about that, yeah. If you give a viper a hummingbird, he eats for a lifetime or something like that. So here he is. He's got a lot of possession time. These shots that he's hitting seem to be coming back to him a lot.
As a player on defense, what do you think you can do to kind of prevent that a little bit if your opponent keeps getting a lot of possession time?
Right. Well, I think the interference defense, which has become more popular, is probably the answer. You're going to have to be able to move forward after the shot has come and gone. The problem is there's a tendency to start charging a lot when that happens, and that's really, I think it's dangerous. In fact, I think it's worse than dangerous. I think it's almost always wrong.
That's one of Brian's favorite little cutesy shots right here, is that off-speed cut.
It's a cutie patootie. That's for sure, but it works. And those types of shots can be sort of humiliating in a sense to the opponent, right? It's like, God, it was so slow. How did I let it go in?
But when you block them, it can be pretty humiliating to the...
Yeah, it's true. Ehab loved to do that, an off-speed right wall under.
So here, Brian completely called the goaltend on himself.
Yeah.
So very honorable. I'm sorry, what did Ehab?
He used to use an off-speed right wall under. Think about that for a second. And it would score on me. And that was frustrating.
yeah, I don't know what I would do if someone
Was doing it
was
regularly.
scoring
Yeah.
regularly.
It's frustrating. Jacob up 3-0.
And
He's really
Brian
in control.
switching mouths
Okay.
to the low
okay.
top.
So what does that say? What is it? What are you thinking?
It says that Brian, I'm going to. I know he has pretty bad arthritis in his right shoulder, so it says to me, arthritis is probably flaring up. It's hurting. It's taking a lot of energy. He feels like he's not able to execute shots
Okay.
like he needs to with his
Got it.
soft high top mallet.
Okay.
So he's switching to a harder low top,
Right.
so he can get kind of more strength behind his shots.
Right. Okay.
One thing though is that hard low top is going to make your defense worse though.
Yeah.
I suppose it might help you score in transition a little bit more on Munoz, but I don't know. Yeah.
That's a nice left wall over.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the Worlds, Munoz did not look as controlled as he looks now. Like he's grabbing the puck and setting up more. Speaking of other areas around the country where we've got pockets of players, North Carolina looks like they've really been lit a fire out there, and I know in Idaho they're starting up weekly tournament. They started up weekly tournaments, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but actually today when we were recording, Joey List beat Kurt Zinder for number 1 in North Carolina today. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So he's number 20 in the world now, I think.
What was the count? Do you know?
It was 4 sets to 3.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay, that's great.
So
Exciting.
that's exciting to really see a true, competitive up and coming base out there.
Yes.
In the pro division, right?
So if Jacob's able to close, that right wall over is so nasty. He can close this out. He would really have switched the matchup after going down 1 set.
Ooh. Oh, almost. I don't think it was, but almost over by Jacob. It's impressive to go that far out when you're,
Yeah.
with all due respect, that short.
Yeah.
I think if Munoz is ever over on me, I'll just let him have it. I'll be too impressed.
And there it is.
Yeah.
Boy.
So if the under's the Viper, what's that one?
Ooh, I don't know.
Let's
Let's see here what the stats show us now after 3 sets. You look at Brian, he's done even more of his attack, his crosses. It looks like Munoz is, he's got a much more balanced left wall under, right wall over, and cut being his main shots. And again, the turnovers here favor, well, now the turnovers are favoring Jacob.
Yeah.
A lot less. And I guess that, again, in terms of shot accuracy, he's got better, Jacob's better on turnovers. And the missed shots is an interesting category because it just means that the shot went over and then you got it back.
Right, right.
Oh, but shot efficiency really dipped for Brian from that first set. Now this is all 3 sets, and that's down to 20%. He's down 21 points.
And so what does possession efficiency mean?
So possession is whether you whether you lost the puck, right? You had possession of it, and did you do something with it? Did you take a shot and get it back, or did you get a score? Or did you turn it over?
Okay. So it's about retaining
Yeah.
possession on shots.
Right.
Okay.
Keeping possession. He blocked. Brian just blocked a Viper. It's the first Viper block. This could bode well.
If Brian could find a mongoose this set,
He needs a mongoose. He needs about 5 mongoose. Mongeese? What is it?
Mongai. I have no idea. Ooh, was that over, under?
I think it was an under. It's hard to tell from this angle. That's that touch cut.
Yeah.
And you notice his hand does that thing where he just kind of is nice and lithe and
It's the snake's slither.
it is. That's the slither. Yeah.
There's that cross.
Yeah.
Good setup.
Well, so now knowing that basically up to this point in the match, Brian has hit 53% of his scoring shots have been cross straights. From a strategic standpoint, if you were coaching Brian, what would you say? Would you say, well, it scores, so go for it, or would you say you really need to open up something else?
I would say, your cross is your main shot, but you have to find other scoring shots. I would tell him to probably set up some other shots with the idea of the cross in mind.
Okay.
Go for a cut and think cross. Go
Yeah.
for a left roll under and think cross.
Sure. Go for a right wall over. I mean, Brian
Yes.
has the
He
right
has
wall
that
over.
Right wall over. Yep. That might be the frustrating thing here for Brian is, I think naturally, he's inclined to go with like the left wall under to complement his cross, but he just, it's difficult for him to get the, oh my god.
Viper sighting.
It's difficult for him to get the power that he needs to get the under to go in. So he has to find something else. The right wall over.
Oh my lord. Oh. If you're watching this, I highly recommend that you pause, rewind, and rewatch that last shot. The setup and the release and the score. Very, very pretty to watch. Sorry, I got distracted.
No, yeah. I was just saying that it's hard for Brian to score the left wall under, so
Right.
he needs to find something else to
Sure.
complement the cross.
Yeah.
I think like you're saying, the right wall over makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah. Yeah, so I've been thinking a bit about what type of percentages you want to see on your shots. And I think what we've seen so far up through 3 sets for Jacob is probably what you want to see, which is 3 shots taking up maybe 25% of the scoring each, and then a smattering of other things taking up the rest. But I don't know. I mean, this is something to think about. I definitely don't think that 53% of your shots should be a specific shot, especially if you're not winning. If you're winning, I don't. Yeah, don't change anything, right?
There
But
was a
if-
Viper.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, and we got to have a name for that cross, man. The cross is really solid, and a cross from Munoz.
That was the cross off of a cut setup.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, the shot percentage thing is interesting to think about.
Oh, that was an intended right double bank.
Yep. He has that shot for sure.
Yeah, that's a good shot to have. I mean, it's a good shot to have every now and then.
Yeah, he'll pull it out a lot when he's ahead or
Right.
just trying to mess with your defense. He also has a double bank started from the left wall side that he can hit very accurately and fast.
Wow.
But yeah, because for me, thinking about it, I assume my graph would be, I think I'd be more in the 35% range for one shot. So I wonder what the correct percentages are.
Yeah, and I don't know whether there are correct, but yeah, it's interesting to think about.
It's probably a situation where there's not necessarily a correct answer, but there are definite wrong answers. Right.
Yeah. Well, yes, definitely depending on if you're winning or losing. Ooh, man, Jacob's just been on a terror. That is, let's see. Let me pull up find my stats here.
I think 6 games in a row.
Let's see. Yeah, that's 6 games in a row so far that he's. No, it's 8 games in a row that he has won.
Wow.
8 games in a row.
Brian's in the Viper pit right now.
He's definitely in the Viper pit. So what do you do when you've lost 8 games in a row to somebody?
You win a game.
Yeah.
I mean, you try new things.
Sure. Okay.
You have to find something new. You have to change the pace somehow. You know, try to make some sort of defensive adjustment. If I'm Brian, I'm probably cheating to the right a bit right now to try to stop that left wall.
Okay.
Brian's right, that is.
Right.
That being said, though, I don't know if cheating is the best thing against Munoz because he can hit so many shots.
Right. He's got a lot of shots.
You can at least cheat on when he's pulling it a bit more left to center, I think, with Brian. Like he did just there.
Munoz is an interesting player because in many ways, like when he said that he has around 8 shots that he can use against Brian, you know, the initial reaction in my mind is, really? You know, I'm not sure I think that somebody has that many shots that they can like actively score with. But he kind of is. He kind of does have a lot of shots. You know, maybe 6 is the more accurate number, but still a lot of shots. And he does play similar to Colin in many respects, but he also, in a way, plays similar to Billy in the sense that he has a lot of shots that he can execute accurately. I mean, he doesn't play like Billy, but he has the same diversity, variety of shots that he can go to.
I think Munoz, if he continues to rise and really practice, he could kind of become a style of himself.
Yeah, he'll have his, absolutely. Yeah, you can already see, I can already see that he's got his own unique thing, but he's pulled something from this guy, something from that guy, you know, and he's, you know, merged it together. Yeah. Oof.
Well, it's
but Brian's, you know,
yes, 3-1 Brian this game.
Let's see, can Brian stem the bleeding at this point? From, or can he suck the poison out? If we're going to stay with the Viper analogy. I'm not sure. I think he went for right wall under and just mishit it there.
Yeah, I think so.
He's building up some possession time. There's 2 off goals.
Probably going for the...
Maybe going for the cross. Yeah, he went for the cross.
Miss it, that cross. And that one.
Yeah, that's hard to block. Oh my lordy. That's very similar to the shot I was suggesting people rewind and watch earlier. It's really far left and then it goes way over to the right and then over the mallet.
Yeah.
Crazy
It's
shot.
a shot that deserves to score.
Yes, it does. And that's a Danny Hines right wall over is
Yeah.
what it looks like.
Yeah. Which I believe Colin has too.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. I think I've seen that. Yeah. Oof.
And so interesting enough, Munoz might have learned that from Colin
Mhm.
rather than Danny, even though Danny is the progenitor
Right.
of that shot.
Right.
Because when I've spoken with Munoz about who he watches, I know he watches Colin a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that makes sense.
Right,
You know,
yeah,
that's
as
that's
you
what
should.
happens
Yeah.
always in, as people look at who's on on top and think, well, they're winning, so I just need to do what they do. But I think that in general, people that become the best at something pull from lots of areas. Kind of find something that works for them. Brian's making it tough. He's not laying down. Ooh. That's how he needs to set up and release that cross. A couple of times when he's tried his cross, he didn't set it up that way. It really needs to be, that puck needs to be drifting. Off goal. Oh, I think he went for the right wall over there. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So
It's a moral victory for
it is a
Brian.
moral victory. Stems the bleeding, sucks out the poison, and he used his main weapon to do it, which is that cross.
Yep.
Ooh, nice transition.
He's a fast Viper.
Yeah. I mean, if he was a slow Viper, that's one thing.
That wasn't a fast Viper. That was just Brian was walking in the tall grass.
Yeah, he was. He wasn't even. He basically fell prey to the old adage: if it was a snake, it would have bit me. Transition.
Munoz is maybe rushing a little bit here. I know he has a fast style, but it doesn't seem like he's developing as much as he usually does. This is the sort of game Brian has to win.
Yeah, it would be a lot different going down 3-1 in a set versus having 2-2 for sure.
Right, and I also just mean from the perspective of Munoz has made several unforced errors this game.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like if he's
Right,
you got to take advantage of when your opponent's not playing at
Yeah.
their best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. When the hand goes vertical, you know it's over. What's going on in Brian's head right now? Oh, no.
Not happy things.
Not
Wow.
happy thoughts.
I've never seen
Never
that
seen
happen.
it in air hockey.
I don't even know what that was.
It's going to be in the montage at the end of this video, I promise you. Oh, God. Just
Yeah.
Munoz just all of a sudden went to a different level. Or Brian had some lapses, one of the two, but that game shifted really quickly.
I think in his head, Brian's very frustrated right now, particularly because, he's fighting a lot and just little things like that flub in, that crazy flub in, probably feel very deflating to him.
Sure. It's like I can't win for losing kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just frustrated in that. It didn't seem like anything was going. Not getting a break.
He's fighting.
Oh yeah, he's gonna fight.
And this is why Brian is such a great opponent for a new player in the upper echelon of air hockey. Because Brian's going to say, okay, well, let's see, do you really have what it takes to be up here?
Right.
Do you actually have the mental toughness you need?
Right.
Because you can have all the technical skill in the world, but if you don't have that mental fire, that mental edge, someone like Brian is just going to run over you.
I was gonna say that's about to be a cross. You could tell the way he was setting it up. It was very pleasing to the eye to watch.
Brian's playing this game more like he played in the first set.
That cut is just smooth as silk. It's like a viper wrapped in a silk blanket. So now Brian gets a little love.
Yeah. I will say one thing is this table is not on the most level ground. We do the best we can with leveling the legs, but
That said, I mean,
it hasn't been. It hasn't been bad.
Yeah.
And I mean, it ultimately doesn't matter. Both players are playing on the same sides.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think either one of these players hit the puck with as much. I don't know. The shots they're shooting, the way they're shooting them, there's a lot more touch involved. I know Brian isn't. He has sort of a lot of arm in a lot of his shots, but he doesn't shoot the way you shoot, where you shoot a right wall under. It's not just going fast; it's going powerfully. There's two things happening at the same time. It's
Right.
Like that, right? That shot went off not because it was fast, because there was too much power behind it. It's strange how you can make the puck go fast without actually imparting an intense amount of force.
I've never played golf, but I assume it's kind of like in golf. I've heard it's not about necessarily how hard you.
Right, it's form. Right. Form. And I think the reason that Munoz is able to hit these shots so damn fast is because he's using so much of his wrist in it, right? Now, I think you need to have some arm and some wrist, but the way he's doing it is just I don't know, slapping at it with his wrist, and it's just. Ooh. What's Brian gonna shoot here? 6-6.
I don't want to say cross straight, but
Yeah, let's say
cross
cross.
straight.
Oh, cut.
Ooh.
Very nice.
All right. Brian ties up the set.
No,
Oh,
it's
no?
3-2.
Oh, I was looking at it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at the set count.
Right.
Brian avoids losing the set.
He does. All right, so let's see. Can Brian force a game 7, put a little more pressure on Jacob?
And he has Jacob thinking now.
Mm-hmm. Jacob's not smiling at the moment.
Yeah, you want to
Eliminate smiles on your opponent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's that touch cut.
Yeah.
Oh.
Brian has his intensity look on right now,
Mm-hmm.
where he like really bears down, and you know. I'm not sure. What you think it hit his
came
finger?
up.
I know it came up, but
I think it came up and hit
Oh.
his hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you even in that case, you don't necessarily. It's not necessarily a turnover.
Right, yeah.
People need to learn the rules better. It has to significantly change the speed and direction of the puck,
Exactly.
and according to what the referee feels. So it is a judgment call. I think you need to let the ref make that call.
Right. Though I do admire Brian's.
Yeah,
Attempt
it's
to be
honorable to
honored
right,
there.
but I don't think I think that it's slightly misplaced because the rule is not that it just as long as it hits it, it's not that.
Right. Exactly. We have a lot of we have a lot of rules in the community we just take as common law that are actually written down
Right.
and that are different than people
Right. Yeah.
believe.
Yeah, like now it seems common law. People want to fist bump between every single game as they switch sides.
Even
I'm
COVID
opposed to
couldn't
that.
take out the fist bump.
That's right. Even COVID did not. I'm okay with a fist bump at the end of a match.
You handshake at the end of the
But I'll do that too. Obviously, that's my preference. But I'm not gonna fist bump between every single game. It doesn't make you more or less sportsmanlike.
I agree with you. It is hard though not to fist bump when after every game your opponent
is looking to fist bump,
and you have an entire crowd watching.
Right. So I think you approach your opponent before the match. You say, hey, I don't really want to fist bump in between games. I'm trying to focus. So let's just wait until the end to shake hands.
Yeah.
But then your opponent may try to fist bump you anyways because he knows there's a crowd.
That would just make me angry.
Yeah. That cross.
But Brian is intense right
Yeah,
now.
he's got that look.
Oh man.
That's that right wall over that he goes to. Oh my lord. Okay, so we're going to a 5th set.
How about a challenge match between sets? Is it okay to fist bump after a set?
Yeah,
of challenge match?
it's allowable. Well, Brian really fought in that set, and obviously, if he won it, this match would be significantly different at 2 sets each. But now Munoz is up 3-1. And he's smiling again. We know what happened last time he started smiling. So
It wasn't good.
Yeah, it
for Brian.
wasn't good. Yeah, that's another old adage: is beware of smiling vipers. I think. And we have Phil Arnold here reffing us now.
Speaking of vipers. Phil's the original air hockey viper.
Mm-hmm.
At least he thinks he is.
Right. Well, and Phil also believes that he has now developed a fast release, which maybe he has. Maybe he's going to be the future the way he wants us to believe. Sounds great.
Ooh.
And, Brian showing his transition chops there.
There's that.
Yeah, it's a
Touch
touch cut.
That cross is not going away though. I mean, this is the
No.
5th set, and it's still
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like you were saying though. If you're Munoz,
Yeah.
are you that worried about the cross?
Yeah, I mean, because it basically, I mean, just look at the stats. So if he scores half of his shots as crosses, you need 7 points, right? So if you're giving up just 3.5 points every game, and you're going to block everything else.
That's what Munoz should not do to stay ahead in this match.
And what was that? What
He charged.
charging? Yeah,
He charged.
yeah, yeah.
But essentially, what Munoz is doing is he's saying, okay, you can have the cross, it just has to be a perfect cross.
Right. Oof, that was a nice transition. Forehand bank. Yeah, he's charging a lot now, looks like.
My guess is Munoz is feeling frustrated now with the cross scoring so much.
Oh. Okay. It reached a critical mass
Yes.
of cross.
It's interesting because if you looked at the statistics, though, Munoz would probably be able to understand that he doesn't actually need to be charging.
Worrying
the
about
cross.
it. Right.
And the charge isn't even working
Right.
to
It's
prevent
not
it from
helpful.
scoring.
Right.
But Munoz is still up this game.
Yeah, he's still up.
I mean, that's really rough. If your opponent is still winning this game and he's charged 3 times,
Yeah.
ooh. Nice off speed by Brian.
5-5. Oh, I think it was an under. Ooh. Brian looks like he's put up. He's amped himself up a little bit. 6-6. Another right wall under. Fast one. Well, it'll be interesting to see once the match is over, looking at the final stats and seeing if Brian ends up with, still half of his shots being crosses or not.
Oh, come on.
Brian's still playing with that intensity. I don't believe it's quite as much as it was last set, but he still is trying. So trying to amp himself up.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely encourage him to try to get that right wall over going. It doesn't. I mean, it looks. I mean, the result on the match count and everything looks very dominating, but in some ways, a lot of games have been pretty close, and Brian's just not getting that yet 6-6. He's not winning the 6-6 games.
And do you think that comes down to not having that second or third shot besides the cross straight that's consistently working?
Yeah, I think so. I think I can confidently probably say that, because if you've got one shot, your main one shot, and it's 6-6, that's the main thing your opponent has to worry about. both of them seem to be rushing
Yeah.
to me.
And charging.
Mm-hmm. A lot of unforced errors by Munoz this game.
So 1-2.
Yeah, there's been a few of them this match. Ryan needs to start that cross from further over to the right of his.
Yeah, that's when it works.
That's when it works. When he starts it more towards the middle, it doesn't seem to work. What really stagnant point here in the match. Finally gets
Right
across.
with that cross.
Mhm. Mm. 5-3, okay.
Brian's finding some more shots now,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but Munoz has that cut.
Oh, now it's already, oh man, that's frustrating when you're up 5-3 and then suddenly it's 5-5
It's very Colin-esque.
by Jacob, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and now he's up, oh. Oh, interesting. 6-6, what's he gonna go for? What's Jacob gonna score with? Or
Right,
Brian
over.
score with? Off goal, off goal, off goal.
Predict Brian will try a cross.
Oh, he went for Viper.
Ooh. Viper bit so hard it
Yeah,
threw Brian's
his
mallet
across. So that's 2 7-6 games in a row. That's got to be really rough. He
That's
thought
just
the
an
Viper
A.
was coming. He was basically walking the tall grass randomly, hitting it with a stick is what happened there. Mm. Mm. Brian trying his own little left wall under there. That's good. I'll open up the cross. Mm-hmm. Again, that's Brian does that. He'll do a few off goals and then he sets that up and hits that cross. Gets himself into a rhythm. Gets the pacing. That was good. I like the choice. It seems like he's trying to work left wall under cross straight now.
It seems like Brian has finally really found a consistent attack.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least figured out how to score some shots besides the cross.
Munoz is doing something a little different now. He just did a couple of, pump fakes, little flutter fakes. I haven't seen that before.
He'll do some pump fakes sometimes. Interesting. It's a great setup there.
Mm-hmm. That's rough. Was it 5-3? 5-4. 5-4. Ryan's literally fighting for his life now. 6-4. It's rushing. Nice. He did that last game. Got a sort of an off-speed cut in. 6-5. Munoz went for the right wall over. Barely missed it. Well, actually, it got blocked, I think.
Oh.
6-6.
Third 6-6 in a row?
Yes. Have me flinching. Okay. What's Brian gonna try for here? He's gonna go for the cross, which has been his bread and butter, or does he go for that off-speed cut? What does he do? He's really amping it up. Oh, he went for the off-speed cut. He almost had it. He gets another chance. Another chance. Another crack at the Viper.
Cross.
Yeah.
Good defense by Munoz.
Oh,
he gets
what
a
was that
cross.
cross? Wow. He hasn't shot many crosses.
Smart.
Oh, yeah, 3 7-6s in a row. Oof.
Yeah, and Ryan down 3-0.
3-0.
It's rough.
He's on the edge. He's one game away from losing the entire match now. You look at the look on his face, though. He ain't giving up.
He's already up 2-0 this game.
Rio. I like that timeout.
Yeah, it's a great timeout.
It's a smart decision.
A lot of players like to wait until, like, they're down 5 or 6.
Yeah.
You know, and then they call a timeout.
Yeah, 3's the number. Oof. And just like that, it's 3-3. That was a nice cross. It's a little bit subtly different. It's a good block.
Another good block.
Mm-hmm.
Very fast reaction time.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob. All right. 5-4.
Brian if he can win this game, it could give him a little momentum, just a little crack in the door. There's a left wall over.
Smart. It makes sense.
Oh,
Brian's
cross.
been. Ooh, that was.
He's 1 point. Jacob's 1 point
Yeah,
away
match
from
point
winning the
5.
match.
Jacob's 1 point away from his first defense of number 3 in the world.
Yeah.
Notice when Munoz is up like this, he tends to hit off goals.
Okay. And the cut.
Match.
Nice, nice. Wow. Wow.
Great match. Great showing by Jacob.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at the stats to wrap it up and see how it broke down there. So there's Brian, basically 49, basically half of his shots were crosses, and Munoz, much more diverse. Looks like less right wall overs than previously. That cut really came alive. And again, the story here is the turnover, the difference in turnovers. Brian was giving up more pucks than Jacob was. Shot efficiency looks about the same. Everything there was about the same. The difference there, missed but recovered, 302 for Jacob. That's a lot of extra possessions. So let's see, Brian, 60 cross straights in that match is what he scored. About similar in transitions. Brian scored himself a few more times. But great match.
Yeah, great match.
All right, so you won the match, 4-1. There was a stretch in there where you won 8 games straight. In many ways, it was very dominant. Brian was able to push back a few times and force a lot of 7-6 games, but he couldn't seem to close out the 7-6 games. How do you feel about the match?
I'm surprised, actually.
Okay.
Like I said, I had a lot of doubt.
Yeah.
And like I was talking to Jacob about it, and he was like, yeah, you were in your head that first set. So start playing as if you're just practicing.
Right.
And then I did. I started playing as if I was just having a good time.
Yeah.
And then after that, that's where I started to really pick it up.
Sure.
And so from that point, I was able to take 2 sets from him. And then I knew he wanted it about as bad as I did. So I knew by that point he was gonna pick it up too. He was gonna find a way.
Sure.
And he did. He found a way. There was a lot of 7-6 games, and it was, I guess, out of desperation, that my defense came in whenever it needed to.
Right.
So I'm happy with the results for
Yeah,
sure.
congratulations. It was a great win, for sure. Brian, in many ways, for years, has been considered a gatekeeper of the top-end players. So if you were able to beat Brian Accrocco, that meant that you would raise to a higher level.
You've achieved greater.
And so I'm curious, when we first talked before, you talked about that self-doubt. And you said you're happy because you had that self-doubt. Is the self-doubt gone?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, I know that the thing about this sport that I love about it is that you're at constant risk of losing.
Sure.
So it keeps you on your toes. So I'm always going to have that self-doubt where I'm just like, man,
Right.
I could lose it.
Right.
But you also have to have a bit of confidence in yourself as well, and your ability to just play your best.
Absolutely.
So, and that's where it came into play for me. I just started playing as if I was practicing.
Right.
And
Let go of the self-doubt.
just let go. Yeah, because I was so nervous and I was beating myself up. Like, man, like he just got that first set.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's not the end of the world.
Right, but yeah.
it does. It takes a toll on you.
Sure. So what do you feel like worked well on offense for you?
It was a multitude of things. I was getting a lot of cuts on
straights.
them. I was getting a lot of cuts on them. Right wall overs, left wall unders was killing him. But then at the end of I would say the third set, he started picking up on it. So the left wall under wasn't gone. So I was like, okay, well, what can I do different? And I had got to this point where I was hitting too many off speeds, and I was like, all right,
Okay,
I can't do that.
Right.
So this is desperation Brian right here. So he's gonna play a different defense. He's gonna play a different offense, and I have to bring something different as well. So obviously he was keying in on me quite a bit. So it was close games, especially that last set.
Yeah.
So he wanted it, and I wanted it more. So
yeah, you did. So that left wall under, I was talking about it a little bit. It's like a viper strike. You know, it's just I'm here, and then suddenly it's boom.
yeah.
So is that a shot that you've been working on for a while? When did you start shooting it? I don't think I've seen it before.
Well, I used to play with the low top. So whenever I do left walls, it's more like I was so used to punching
Okay.
in, you know, especially with the way I would hold the low
Right.
top. So now I've learned to do the same thing, but with the high top.
Right.
So, and from that angle, you can hit just about any shot. You know, you can hit a cut, you can hit a cross, right wall.
Interesting.
So by that point, it's got the opponent thinking like, okay, he's gonna go for the left,
Yeah.
but I'm probably gonna block it. And then it's just
It's so fast.
it's so
right.
fast. So
Well, we've recently been talking a lot about the release speed on shots, and we've been measuring them with, frames and things like that on video. And for the project that we're working on for ESPN, we measured yours, and we came up with, I think, 0.17 seconds, and that's super fast. However, Jacob and Collins were both significantly faster. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think what you're doing now is different than what you did at the Worlds.
Yeah.
And it's about being at a position what I would call neutral, then pulling or cocking back and releasing. That time period for you has gotten much faster. I don't know if you're shooting it different on purpose or if something changed.
Well, the thing with Brian, so there was a couple of times where I was having to delay some of my releases
Okay.
because I noticed he was charging and stuff.
Okay.
So that's where there was quite a bit of times where he would charge and I just.
Yeah.
So I knew some delays were gonna work in my favor as well.
Right.
So no, I mean I
With that one in particular.
yeah I can't say that I'm trying to do anything
Okay,
different.
all
Like
right.
whenever I played in the Worlds, I was just surprised to even be where I was
Right,
at.
I know, yeah.
So I don't critique on what I do and how I do it. I don't look back at my footage
Okay.
and be like, oh wow, you know, my releases. So no, I guess I didn't anticipate on trying to hit a faster release. I mean, I want to hit the best shots as I can.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
if that helps any bit.
Well,
so.
I'm gonna measure it from the match, and I believe it's definitely equal with Jacob and Colin at this point. So it was a great match to watch.
Thank you.
I have predicted off camera, but I'll predict on camera that you will win a Worlds at some point.
Thank you.
I believe that is in your
Appreciate that.
future. There's some glimpses of some really great stuff in there. In playing matches like this against a tough competitor
It'll get me
like
to that goal.
Brian will get you to that next level.
For sure.
So, in practicing with a great practice partner like Jacob Weissman, I can see you guys really pushing each other to really high heights, and I can see you guys winning like some doubles championships.
Oh,
like
yeah.
really kicking some ass.
Yeah, I would like to partner up with him for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. We good? All right, cool. Well, we're here. It didn't go the way that you were hoping.
The first set did.
Yes, the first set, yeah. So talk about that. What happened in the first set?
So the first set, I executed my strategy. It was really solid defense, slower possessions, longer drifts, off goals, and he wasn't as aggressive, and so that I was able to kind of get command of the set. I mean, he got up 2-1, and then the last 3 games, I really just kind of I had a rhythm on him
Yeah.
with that particular, and it worked.
Yeah.
And then he came out the next set and just sped it up. Right, he was able to use his speed and start getting through my defense, and that got me discombobulated. I wasn't as patient on offense as I had been in the first set. I got the next 2 sets especially. He got me kind of disjointed a little bit, and so I knew I had to, at some point I was going to have to get more aggressive. And so after he won 8 games in a row, I realized it was time. I needed to.
Realize, yeah.
I probably should have started the set more amped up. You know,
Okay.
The amped up style, I used to do that a lot more, but I find I've abandoned that because I didn't believe I was ever going to win a world championship with that. I wanted to play more of a skill game.
Sure.
And try to execute shots skillfully. But in this particular situation, I had to go after it. So I got amped up, almost got that 4th set. It was 7-6 in the 6th game. The last 2 games, and then the 5th set, the first 3 games were 7-6. So if you look at the end of the match, I'd risen up and I was playing him even, but he was just 1 point better just about every game.
Yeah.
He's just a little bit better. Really, I can't wait to go watch the match.
Yeah.
The shots were
Yeah.
really, he was hitting really good shots.
Well, yeah, both of you guys were actually. I felt like that you guys played at a really high level. I'm curious what your thoughts are in terms of what he was scoring on you with. What did you feel like was really
Well, it was
annoying?
different shots at different times. You know, at one point he got the overs going. Some of these games 5, 6, 7 overs in a game, and just release from different positions. And I'm not particularly dedicated to trying to block overs, just because most people can't hit him with that kind of proficiency, but he could.
Yeah.
So when he needed to be able to hit the overs, when I was shutting down his unders, he got the overs going, and then he started finding a left wall under on me close to the rail. His release is so quick that I just wasn't reacting fast enough for it. He did get some cuts opened up, but primarily, you know, whenever I was getting ahead of him in games, he would pop over and get right back in the game. And so I would lose that edge that I had, 2 or 3 point edge. And defensively, I was getting mostly cross straights. I mean, that's the man. Pretty much 60 or 70% of my shots were cross straights.
And we were talking, Jacob and I were talking a little bit about that. Is that it's hard to win if you don't have more than 1 or 2 shots in a match that are like that you can go to, right? You got to be able to go to other things. Your right wall over was working at times, and that would have been.
It wasn't. I wasn't hitting it consistently,
right?
And I couldn't get. I haven't played with a high top in several years with any consistency. So the power on my left wall under was just terrible. Every time I was executing and I was losing possession, he was seeing it coming. I was losing my mallet.
Right.
Finally, in the last set, I finally figured out how to get my shoulder on top of it and start getting some power on it.
Right.
He was also sitting on my cross at that point, so I struggled with cuts. I was trying to get some cuts, and I was just mis-executing them by a hair. They were rimming out of the goal, a lot of them, and staying on his side of the table. So the turnovers definitely favored him. The speed favored him. I was able to match his intensity, and I was able to get a little bit more aggressive defense and attack him a little bit more. Not really the way I wanted to play defense, but it's what I had to do to give myself a chance.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
Well, I thought it was a valiant effort. It was great to see you fight. It was great to see that both of you guys were not giving up in any of the situations that you found yourself in. And I think it's really great for him to experience a match with someone like you that has a real competitive edge that is going to, isn't going to make it easy. We're not going to lay down for you. And I was talking to him about that. In many circles in air hockey, you're considered like a primary gatekeeper for the upper echelons of air hockey, and somebody's got to go through and beat you to be able to prove that they deserve to be up in there.
That's very flattering to hear.
Well, I think a lot of people will say that. So where do you go from now?
I got to lose. I've lost a few pounds. I got to lose a few more pounds. As you age, weight has a significant factor on energy and focus and speed. I'm going to try to see if I can figure out a way to get 10 years younger. But I'll let you know if I figure that one out. Realistically, I think I want to get in better shape. So my younger son and I have been going to the gym more often. I'm going to get out. I've been wanting to do more walking, but it's been too cold. I don't like going out in 40 degrees and walking, but I want to get out. I can't really do much jogging anymore, but I can go walk 3 or 4 miles, and that seems to do a really good job for helping my legs stay fit.
Nice.
I'm going to practice with a high top. I've got to play Austin Fernandez a challenge match. That's one that's going to be tough.
Sure.
I'm I'm going to try to see if I can challenge. I may challenge Doug next. I'm thinking about going to San Antonio playing Doug. He's one step above me. Maybe try to step up the ladder, see if I can take it a piece at a time.
Okay.
Him, then maybe Avery, and then Danny, Pete, Danny. Go through the Houston players.
Yeah.
But
all right. Well, I wish you the best. It was great seeing you play.
thanks. Appreciate
Alrighty.
it.